All right, here we go. I'm so excited for tonight, y'all. Okay, let me get to my notes. So, hey everyone, I am so glad you're here. I am Nelly Saylor, certified health coach, and today we are diving into the topic that affects every trip to the grocery store: how food companies use their packaging tricks to mislead you, and what you can do to outsmart them. As a mom and health coach, I know how confusing it can be when you're trying to make healthy choices. But here's the truth. The front of the package is marketing. The sides of the package are marketing. And the only spot that you can really rely on is the nutritional facts on the back. So by the end of today's session, you'll know how to decode labels, spot the most common tricks, and walk away feeling confident about what you're feeding yourself and your family. So let's go. So let's start with one of the most ridiculous but effective tricks, the free from labels on things that were never a problem in the first place. So have you ever seen a label on water that says gluten free or an apple that claiming to be cholesterol free? These claims are technically true, but they're also completely unnecessary. They just want you to think their product is somehow superior. So, how do we outsmart it? When you see a free from label, ask yourself, could this food even contain that thing? If the answer is no, the label is just marketing fluff. For example, fresh fruits and veggies are naturally gluten-free. There's no fancy label required. Here's a quick example of that. Let me see if I can click through. Okay. So these are egg noodles. Egg noodles. But it says gluten-free. Eggs don't have gluten. Gluten is wheat, barley, or rye, and some other grains, but it's wheat, barley, rye are the main gluten guys. Egg has nothing to do with gluten. So, okay, let's move on. Another big trick, buzzwords like natural, pure, and wholesome. They sound healthy, but here's the catch. There is no legal definition for most of these words. So a natural granola bar could be packed with sugar and preservatives, but that word natural makes it sound like it came straight from a farm, but it didn't. They just stuck it on their label. So how can we outsmart it? Instead of trusting buzzwords, flip the package over and read the ingredient list. If it's long and filled with things you can't pronounce, it's not as natural as it claims. Pro tip, look for whole, recognizable foods. If your great grandma wouldn't recognize it, question it. So I use this little example here, the Velveeta cheese. There's a little label there that says made with real cheese. So if you look at the actual ingredients, though, it is packed full of additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, fillers, ingredients that I wouldn't want in my body. So while it's saying made with real cheese, it's less real than what they would want you to think. Just at the top there, canola oil right there at the top. Um, Modified food starch, which is another word for maltodextrin, but then they also have maltodextrin in there. So they have like a double portion of maltodextrin. Just run from Velveeta. Do not use that in your food. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, all right, let's talk about one of the sneakiest tricks food companies love to pull. Highlighting one good thing while hiding the bad. You've probably seen labels shouting things like low fat, sugar free, high in protein. They sound healthy, right? But here's the truth. When companies remove something like fat or sugar, they often replace it with something worse. For example, low-fat yogurt, often packed with extra sugar or artificial sweeteners to make up for the flavor. or they'll have emulsifiers because if you remove the fat from yogurt, it's very runny. So all of a sudden they have to put something else in there, a gum of some kind, to to have the mouth feel of a normal whole fat yogurt. So what about sugar-free snacks? Many use sugar alcohols that can wreck your gut and spike your cravings. High protein bars, some are basically candy bars with protein sprinkled in. They put some nuts on it, and all of a sudden that's a protein, but it's coated in sugar, caramel, and um, sweetened chocolate, and all the things, full of preservatives, refined oils, and fake fiber. So that one good thing they highlight, it's a distraction from all the harmful stuff they aren't talking about. So in my example here, I've had Hellmann's low-fat mayonnaise. And you think, oh, low fat, great. But then we look at the ingredients, and right at the top there, they have water, whatever, modified cornstarch. That's the same as maltodextrin. Again, another word for a carb that acts like a sugar. So it's spiking your blood sugar without the flavor of sugar. Soybean oil, which is inflammatory. And then it has sugar in it, and xanthan gum. So like there's so many pieces in there, phosphoric acid, natural flavors, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. So there's so many extra filler stuff in there. A normal mayonnaise is literally egg, a little bit of vinegar, salt, maybe some mustard, maybe. And you blend that, and that's mayonnaise. That's it. All the extra stuff is just junk. Oh, and an oil. Usually a good one is avocado oil or olive oil. Okay, let's move on. All right. Here's a sneaky one you've probably encountered. Tiny serving sizes that make junk food seem healthier. Example, a bottle of soda may claim to have 100 calories, but if you look closer, that's only for half the bottle. If you drink the whole thing, you're getting double the amount of sugar. So how can we outsmart it? Always check the servings per container line, servings per container. If you'd if you'd realistically eat the whole package, do the math. Get the real numbers. And there's a fun little one that I got. I put this little picture of package of Oreos. Real quick, can you guess how many Oreos are in one serving? Who wants to take a wild guess? Two? Kelly, what was your guess? Two? Okay. Let's look. Three cookies. So those are good guesses. I'm glad you lowballed it because some people be like 5, 10. When you think about how many you end up eating in a serving, you're like, okay, well maybe yeah, double it, right? Yeah. Yeah. And what kills me about Oreos is that they have those hidden ingredients. It's addictive. They want you hooked on the Oreos. They want you to eat an entire sleeve of Oreos in one sitting. They don't care about your health. So the serving size is three cookies, and then that's 160 calories for three cookies. And that doesn't include, I didn't even add in all the other things that's in there, the ingredients, the amount of sugar, the amount of just junk garbage in there. It's wild. Okay. Good guessing, ladies. Let's keep going. So let's talk about now the health symbols on food packages. I used Cheerios because growing up, this was probably one of the most marketed gimmicks for heart health is that Cheerios are heart healthy. The ones that make products look like they're practically a superfood. I remember seeing the ads where people were like, "Oh, I lowered my cholesterol by eating Cheerios." If you've ever grabbed a box of cereal because it has a heart symbol or a seal that said doctor recommended, it's easy to trust those. But here's the truth. Many of these symbols are paid for, not earned. Food companies know that health conscious people like you and like me are looking for those reassuring badges. But a lot of these certifications are created by industry-backed organizations or marketing programs, not independent health experts. It kills me when if you ever see like like say the toothpaste commercials, and it's like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend such and such product. And it's because they paid those dentists to recommend their product. That wasn't like they didn't just go and petition 10 random dentists that said, oh, yes, your product is the best. They paid for that. For an example, a sugary cereal might carry a heart healthy label simply because it's low in fat, but they ignore the 30 grams of sugar hidden inside. Snack bars with a good source of fiber seal, that fiber is often synthetic, not from whole foods. And products boasting of doctor approved claim often are backed by sponsored studies where the food company paid for the research. Food companies know that symbols sell, even when the product itself is far from healthy. So next time you're at the store and products scream certified this or approved that, pause and dig deeper. Your best defense is knowledge. When you know how to see past marketing, you can make informed, confident choices for yourself and for your family. So, again, if we look at this box of Cheerios, the ingredients whole grain oats, cornstarch, that's a no no. Sugar, that's in Cheerios. I thought Cheerios was, it doesn't even taste like there's sugar in there, but there's sugar in there. Try potassium phosphate. We don't need that additive in there. Um, Added to preserve freshness. They're vitamin E, all those minerals, all those things that are in there are fortified. Those are all synthetic. Those aren't real, which means your body isn't actually absorbing those nutrients. It's just pretend. Oh, and down at the bottom, I see folic acid, which for many people, folic acid is actually inflammatory and can cause a lot of negative effects because it is a synthetic version of folate, which our bodies desperately need. Okay, I could go on that forever. There's so many things about synthetic nutrients. Okay, so let's talk about something food companies don't want you to notice. Vague ingredient lists. If you've ever seen words like natural flavors, spices, or proprietary blend on a package, these sound harmless, but they're often a way for companies to hide what's really inside. For example, natural flavors can mean dozens of lab-made chemicals that mimic real food, but there's no legal requirement to disclose that chemical. So spices might sound like a cozy kitchen staple, but it can legally include artificial preservatives and even MSG under that umbrella. Proprietary blend is common on supplements. It sounds fancy, but often means you have no clue how much of each ingredient you're actually getting. These vague terms are a loophole, allowing companies to keep their formulas secret while leaving you in the dark about what you're really consuming. So when you see vague terms, here's what to do. You look for specifics. Quality brands list exact ingredients, not just umbrella terms. For example, instead of natural flavors, a better label will name the actual source, like organic vanilla extract. Be wary of blends. If a product uses a proprietary blend, ask, are they hiding how little of the good stuff is in here? Quality supplements will give exact amounts of active ingredients. The simpler, the better. If a product needs a vague label to disguise what's inside, it's probably too processed to begin with. If they won't tell you what's really in it, ask why. Now, one thing I will say, so on Plexus products, they have natural flavors on, say, the Slim drink. And I went and I asked, what is this? And on their website, they disclose everything that's in their natural flavors, and it's extracts from different fruits and berries. So what natural flavors does, it's an essence. So what these companies are trying to do is they're not wanting you to have the physical product. They want you to have the scent or because our nose cavity, all that impacts flavor. So if you clogged your nose while you try to drink something, the flavor changes. So they learned that we can put essence into it and that can enhance our flavor. Now, for junk food, and garbage foods, that natural flavors could be a compound of different chemicals because they're not wanting to spend the money on good quality ingredients. So they're going as cheap as possible to make sure you have the sensation of a good flavor without them having to invest in good flavors. So that's why when I looked into Plexus, they disclose what essences they use, and it's again all plant-based. They get it from berries and fruit, and no extra added ick. And they intentionally will let you know what's in that. But if a company doesn't disclose anywhere what is in their natural flavors, it could be up to 100 different chemical compositions that they are putting together to make your dining experience more enjoyable. Okay, let's keep going. Ooh, so let's bust. I feel there's so much here. I know there's a lot. Let's bust one of the most misleading food claims out there, made with whole grains. Okay, so that sounds like a healthier choice, right? But here's the trick. Just because a package says made with whole grains doesn't mean that's what you're actually eating. And I know it's like, why? Why? In reality, many crackers and breads and snacks that flaunt this label are still mostly refined flour with just a sprinkle of what grains of whole grains to meet the marketing requirement. So if you look at this box of Ritz crackers, the ingredients, the first ingredient is unbleached enriched flour. So they have stripped all the nutrients out of that flour, and then they put back in synthetic nutrients so that the shelf life is longer. But and they want you to think that there's nutrients in it. Folic acid, which is again, and then whole grain wheat flour is down. It's not the primary ingredient. So it's there somewhere in the middle in all their ingredient list. And then it has soybean and canola oil, which is again another ick. But so even though it says we're baked with whole wheat, how awesome. But the whole wheat is like not the main ingredient. So they're just trying to mess with you. So how can we outsmart them? When you see made with whole grains, here's how to spot the truth. Check the ingredient order. Ingredients are listed by weight from most to least. If enriched wheat flour, which is a fancy term for refined flour, is listed first, that means the product is mostly white flour, not whole grain. Look for 100%. The only real whole grain guarantee is when the package says 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat. Anything less is just marketing fluff. Watch out for brown coloring. Some crackers and breads look healthier because companies add molasses or caramel color to mimic whole grains, but that doesn't mean they actually contain them. So, a quick tip, if the first word isn't whole, it's not the real deal. So here's a little challenge. Next time you grab crackers, flip them over, check the box. Is it whole in the first ingredient? Is the word whole a part of that? Is there a long list of fillers and additives? That'll let you in. Okay. All right. So have you ever bought a snack because it has a picture of a juicy berry on the front? Unfortunately, many of these products don't contain any real fruit, just artificial flavors and dyes. And those heart healthy symbols on cereal boxes, many are paid certifications, not medical endorsements. So, how can we outsmart these companies? Look for specific words like 100% whole fruit or no artificial colors. If a product just says fruit flavored, it's probably made in a lab, not in a garden. Don't let pretty pictures fool you. Always verify with ingredients. So this is the ingredients of that Welch's box. They've got the fruit puree. Okay, great, great, great. Then corn syrup, sugar, modified cornstarch, modified tapioca starch. There's one, two, three, four kinds of sugar back to back in that. And then the grape juice from concentrate is also a sweetener. Yeah, frustrates me to no end. Okay, I'm almost done, guys. We're almost to the end of this. So let's talk about marketing trick that sounds healthy but hides a lot. Fortified, fortified with vitamins and minerals. Okay. When you see this on a box of cereal, crackers, or snack bars, it's easy to think, oh, this must be good for me. But here's the truth. Fortification means they've added back synthetic vitamins and minerals, usually because the original food was so processed that it lost its natural nutrients. It's like burning a house down, sprinkling some vitamins on the rubble, and calling it enriched. Doesn't sound so nourishing, does it? You can't, your body doesn't recognize it. So here's how they trick you. Sugary cereals often brag about being fortified with iron and B vitamins, but they're still loaded with refined sugar and artificial colors, things that deplete your body's natural nutrient stores. So, kid snacks with a good source of vitamin D label, that's often synthetic vitamin D added to cover up the high fructose corn syrup and hydrogenated oils inside. Fortified bread might have a few added vitamins, but it's usually made from bleached, refined flour that spikes your blood sugar and fuels insulin resistance. Companies strip nutrients out during processing, then add synthetic versions back so they can slap a healthy claim on the front. But your body absorbs nutrients best from real, whole foods, not lab-made versions. So, how can we outsmart them? When you see fortified on a label, ask yourself, why did they need to add a vitamin back? Was the food so processed that the natural goodness is gone? What's hiding underneath? Flip the box and check for sugars, artificial flavors, and refined oils. Can I get these nutrients naturally? Choose real whole foods like leafy greens for folate, eggs for vitamin D, and nuts for magnesium. A good rule of thumb, real food doesn't need a vitamin patch job. So the next time a product brags about being fortified, don't be fooled. Instead, focus on whole nutrient dense foods that nourish your body the way nature intended. When you understand these tricks, you become empowered to make the best choices for yourself and for your family. And just so you know, one serving of Lucky Charms was 36 grams of sugar. And that's for, I believe, not even like 3/4 of a cup. So if you've ever if you've ever poured yourself a box of cereal, I can guarantee you it was not 3/4 of a cup. Like that's tiny. Oh man, the times that I would fill up the biggest bowl I could find, ugh, horrendous. Okay, final one, and then I'll give you a few tricks just to keep in mind, just keep in your back pocket. Last but not least, sugar. Companies know we're watching for it, so they hide it under other names. Malt syrup, cane juice, dextrose, fructose, it's all sugar with a fancy disguise. Some products labeled no sugar added are still loaded with sweeteners that spike your blood sugar. How to outsmart it? Know the aliases. Anything ending in OSE is usually sugar. And don't be fooled by no added sugar. Look for total sugars on the label instead. A simple rule, the closer to nature, the better. So if we look at this label, this one has 35 grams of sugar for 8 fluid ounces of grape juice. And the biggest mistake we make with drinking juices is we think it's healthy because it's fruit juice. But what makes fruit juice healthy is one, it has it's authentically from the fruit itself, where it's not messed or tinkered with or added to. But two, it's partnered with fiber. And it's that fiber from the fruit that slows down the blood sugar spike. So if we're just drinking straight juice, it is no different than you drinking a bunch of sugar. That's literally what it is, liquid sugar. So I would highly recommend don't buy juice. You don't, unless you're making sure that you're drinking it with like you're in your meal, you're having fiber. I just we don't drink. I don't give it to my kids. It's not necessary. It's really not. Okay. So wrapping it up here. So here's your action plan next time you shop. Flip your box over. Don't trust the front of the package. Check your serving sizes. Do the math. Spot sneaky sugar and look past the buzzwords. If you want to dig deeper, I've got a label reading cheat sheet I can send you. Just let me know. And remember, you are in control. When you know the tricks, you can make smarter choices and protect your family's health. So that's all I have for you. Keep in mind, it's very simple. Three simple things. Always read your nutritional label. Before you look at the packaging, before you look at the colors, before you see the leaves and the words natural and pure and whole, just read the ingredient list. And that will always lead you to know whether this is something you want in your home, is if the ingredients seem transparent and minimal. You can do this. I firmly believe in all of you that we can do this. Okay, so I know I talked about a lot. Like I said, I have a cheat sheet available if y'all want for a digital download. Um, Before I wrap us up, I'm going to stop the recording and just give us a couple minutes to answer any questions.